Allie, Nazi or nah? I feel like Allie agrees with her.
I don't agree with her. I feel like I don't think she's a Nazi.
We're your hosts, Tara, Nora, and Allie, and you're listening to Bad Advice Only.
We're just three New York City rats talking about scurrying around the Big Apple. Here, we make the New York City mistakes so you don't have to.
We're begging you. Leave us a review and follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Bad Advice Only NYC. We release new episodes every Monday, so stay tuned, rats.
Can you imagine Allie going back to school? Just let that hang in the air.
Allie, what would you get your PhD in?
Wait, obviously,
Answer the
economic history, because in college, I double majored in history and economics, but with a focus on the most unnecessary piece of history. I focused on African economics, and not once has it ever come up in our friend group. And you guys think I'm dumb because of the things that come out of my mouth.
Yes.
The only time I've been able to use it was when we were drunk at Dumbo House, and I turned to Nora, and I'm like, no one's ever going to believe that I was right about any of these things.
It's true. Our friend who's very interested in African history was going off about it, and Allie was like toe to toe, and I was just sitting there like, what the fuck is going on right now?
I knew that you had an emphasis on African studies.
I didn't know that.
It's just, like you said, it's never come up.
Nobody
It doesn't come up
ever
at
really
our
talked about
drunken
it.
brunches. Weird.
Yeah, Nora decided at the prime age of, how old are you?
32.
She's decided to ask her first question about geopolitics at Dumbo House.
Yeah. It was interesting. I will say
very
that
interesting.
the person telling me about it made it a lot more interesting than anything I've heard before.
Listener, she's not talking about Allie.
I'm not talking about
She's
Allie.
not.
Huge shout out to our boy Zach. He is amazing and is one of our number one listeners.
Anyway, he's got family in Tanzania. And then my next thing was, I used to study African history, which is like a sharp turn. And everybody at the table kind of looked at me as like, what's the point? And then we started talking
And
about
then the point
geopolitics.
was I left shortly after. I had a drink, I absorbed some
You're
knowledge,
like,
and I was
actually-
like, I am at capacity.
The minute Allie said Tanzanian economics,
No,
Nora
Africa's
was
huge,
out.
though. And if you look at a
Africa's
map,
huge?
it's so big. Are you kidding me? Also, if you look at a map, it's very interesting, like, how close to Saudi Arabia it is. Like, there's so many things that I'm like,
She literally was looking at a map.
My best friend didn't know that there were countries within Africa.
I think that's a common,
Is it a-
unfortunate misunderstanding.
I don't
It's a continent.
So it's a
It's not a
continent.
country.
That's like Europe. Like, no one's like, Europe's like...
Yeah, no one confuses Europe.
I think some people do. Y'all are really underestimating how stupid people are.
Rats, I know you're smarter than this. Write us if you thought Africa was a country.
3 white bitches talking about Africa. Pretty cancelable these
That's
days.
good. That's good. She's never added a transition in
She's
in
never.
a
So today we're going to be talking about cancel culture.
I love this topic.
I'm scared, honestly. I'm terrified.
Well, you realize, because Allie keeps saying she's scared to do this episode, we're not just going to say cancelable things. That's
Are
not
you
what the
kidding
I mean,
me?
I'm
Of
just saying it's
course
not
Allie
the point
will.
of the episode.
It's not the point of the episode, but Allie will say something ridiculous.
I'll take a moment to just apologize now and for everything I've already said thus far.
So I know you all already have an idea of cancel culture. I'm looking at 2 very different rats. One who I'm sure is already philosophizing this and arguing it in her head. The other one is thinking of all the horrendous things that are just naturally coming through her brain and wondering what she should let out and what should she keep in.
Really hard for me to know what to say and what not to say.
Just the topic alone, cancel culture, Allie looks like she's about to blurt out something ridiculous.
She's wearing a
crying.
long sleeve gray mock neck, listener, and I'm sure by the end of it she's just going to have sweat through the armpits.
You can also see her nipples through it, if anyone's interested.
Not due to the stress of being canceled. That's just her natural
17
nip.
degrees outside, you guys.
I just thought it was an interesting aside that her nipples were out this morning.
They never have a mind of their own.
They really do.
Mine are just always hard.
We do know that about yours.
Yeah, don't know why. They're real, listener. I wouldn't pay for these tiny titties.
People have fake nipples?
I wouldn't pay for these titties. To cancel culture.
Okay. My first thought process when I'm thinking about cancel culture, what's the difference between cancel culture and boycotting?
Ooh, that's a good question. I hadn't thought of that.
Isn't it just an extreme sense of boycotting?
Cancel culture has a lot of malicious intent, is how I would describe the difference. Both have a similar goal, but cancel culture, in my opinion, it's more than just like, I won't give my money to something I don't agree with. It is like, I want to take that person or thing down. I want them to never work again. I want their life to be destroyed based on something that I don't agree with that they've done, which I think is wrong.
I agree with that. I feel like boycotting usually has some sort of alternative means to it, meaning like, hey, I'm going to boycott this because I want a different result that's still in a similar path. Whereas cancel culture is really just like a fuck you. You don't like my opinion. Like, I don't like your opinion. Like, game over.
Yeah. I think the overlying similarity is values. Whatever you disagree with, it's against your values when you boycott something. And I don't think people realize that just by choosing not to buy something that is technically boycotting. Maybe it's not an organized group. And like what Nora said, the cancel culture, I don't know if it was intended this way, but it is very malicious and like mob mentality. I have a few examples of people getting quote unquote canceled, or like the public reacting in a way of wanting this person quote unquote canceled. So I don't know who would do this. Number one is a woman named Laura Ingraham, Fox News
Laura
host.
Ingraham, yeah.
So Laura Ingraham, she's a Fox News host. Is she still a Fox News host? Okay, so she got through this cancellation. So in 2018, Ingram mocked a Parkland shooting survivor for college rejections. Why would you mock
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What'd she say?
A college applicant wrote in their essay about their experience surviving the Parkland shooting and were rejected from that university. And somehow it made the news, and Ingram mocked them for
What did
it.
they say? Give me the quote, because it matters.
She said, she tweeted this. I guess the student, he graduated with like a 4.1 and was rejected to 4 of his main schools that he wanted to go to. And she called him a whiny baby, basically.
May I make a point here? And I don't know the context, so like maybe she's totally a piece of shit. I don't know. But just on the surface of what you've said, if somebody survives a shooting, are they immune from criticism for the rest of their lives in all aspects?
Right.
What? That's
Also,
crazy.
not to be a dick, maybe there were 7 other people that survived that shooting that applied to the same college. Like, all their essays were... Well, I mean, maybe his essay...
At some point.
Maybe his essay wasn't as strong as others.
Good.
I understand where your argument's coming from, sister, about, like, is he immune? However, she is this massive host with a platform.
Agreed.
So, like, that's the power struggle and the difference.
Fair enough.
But on the counter, you should know that Fox News, they've always been more of a conservative platform that's always been pro-gun rights. Like, not that it makes that statement okay, but you kind of know what you got to sign yourself up for. That's why I get a little bit...
But he wasn't on Fox News. He had just tweeted that he didn't get into universities, and she tweeted
that
back.
context
He's
is
a
different.
whiny
I
little
thought that
baby.
they had, like, an
Like, he was-
exchange and that she was making fun of him.
She just chose to attack
that's
someone.
fucked
Do
up.
I think that's mean? Do I think that's mean? Yes. Do I think it's bullying? Yes. Do I think it's a low blow from a famous person to a random student? Yes. Do I think she should lose her job and never work again? No.
Okay.
I don't.
Well, she didn't. We've confirmed she's still
She's still
gainfully employed.
She's still bullying.
But the result,
bully.
she's still bullying. Basically, what she did lose, though, advertisers pulled out after public outcry, though her show continued. So this is more of a debate of like cancel culture versus market consequences. And I do agree with the market consequences. If you don't like what someone's saying and you're
Then don't put money
paying
towards
them,
it. Fine.
You know, like if you're paying advertisements, like, yeah, I would pull that out too and be like, eh.
Here's what bothers me about it, though. What you're saying, I agree with 100%, but that's not what's happening. They are responding to public outcry.
Correct.
This is about money.
Right.
They are only doing this because they're saying, if I advertise with them, I'm going to get in trouble. It's all part of this mob mentality of like, what is societally acceptable and what's going to benefit me financially. It's not moral.
Well, it's also like the extremity of this cancel culture. Like, it's so extreme. They can't even fathom even having a small investment in something that somebody doesn't agree with.
The other thing that bothers me is like, you only hear about what you hear about. If you researched everything that your money goes towards and you tried to make sure every single thing aligned with your values, you'd be fucked. You'd be fucked.
So, okay, this one's going to rile you up, I think.
I'm ready. I'm already riled.
So, his name is Shane Gillis. I've never heard of him. However, he was hired by SNL. So, like, you should have heard of him. Like,
Okay.
You get pretty famous, like, overnight after.
Was he rotund?
I don't know, because I've never heard of him. He got canceled.
What's he canceled for? Give
So
us the crimes.
He was hired by SNL in 2019, and then before he even made it to the show, before his first recording, they rescinded his offer because of past racist and homophobic remarks that surfaced online.
How bad were they?
I looked at
Not that anyone
say
is
what
good,
they say.
but,
it was supposed to be positive, being like, I accept all, but then he used a slur, being like, come on in. Like, he
Which
said,
slur?
I'm not going to say it.
Just give us a hint.
I think
What does it start with?
the F word. And then also the S word.
So he got canceled for that?
So, well, he didn't get... He lost his job at SNL, which most people would argue is like the most life-changing, dream job to get. But I started to wonder, okay, this
But
is
he's a
SNL.
comedian as well.
Right. So I knew this would get you riled up about the comedy aspect of it. But before we get into the comedy aspect, I started thinking about Lorne Michaels. He's been in show business for how long? How long has SNL been around?
forever, like since the 60s.
Right.
Yep.
So are you saying he has never hired an asshole, racist, sexist, homophobic person on SNL?
They have, but the public didn't demand that they fire
Exactly,
them
that's
until
where I'm
now.
going.
This
Right.
is the court of public opinion that we live in
Also,
today.
too, think about it. It's like back then there wasn't social media. Like there weren't a lot of opportunities for people to do dumb shit.
Or like on a scale.
Yeah, like I don't think Eddie Murphy was worried about going to SNL and then going off stage and saying something crazy. Like no one was going to write it in a paper.
Societally, no one had problems. Societally, there were problems, but societally, white people did not have a problem with blackface. They thought it could be funny and used in shows, especially when they wouldn't employ black people. Black people did not like it at all. It was a problem from the get, right? So it's interesting that we're saying, oh, well, at this time, could we look at it in this lens? Because I'm sure there were some unsavory jokes in like the 70s, 80s on SNL.
But this is the whole point. Like your point about blackface is perfect. This is the whole point. People are different. Every single person on this earth has a different bar for what they find acceptable or funny. We don't have to all agree on this fucking imaginary bar of what's over the line and not over the line.
The Rat Pack is against blackface, just for the record.
I agree.
So yeah, I was like, okay, surely this old white man has some like nasty history, but when I tried to go after Lorne Michaels, it turns out he's kind of a gem of a human.
He has never said a racist thing in his entire life.
I've never heard him speak. Like
He got, he's interesting. He got the Medal of Freedom Award in 2016, which is the highest honor a civilian can get in the U.S. So
What did he get it for?
let me double check. I have it right here.
is he Jewish?
He's Canadian.
So is he Jewish or
So
is he just Canadian?
Two can be true.
Both can be.
I'm really not sure, guys.
Nah, no Jewish Canadians don't exist.
Not yet until I move there. I'm just kidding.
Hell yeah. We need to populate Canada with some
Populate.
Jews.
Okay, let's see.
I don't know. I've never heard someone scream at their laptop in that manner.
Sorry, I don't know what happened, guys.
Do, do, do.
I'm gonna look up if Lorne Michaels is Jewish.
Don't worry about why you want it.
Okay. She cannot find it. That is the level of journalism on this podcast.
Well, it's that, and I'm caffeinated in the wrong way, and I can't handle this pressure.
This thing that says Jew or not Jew, Lorne Michaels.
That's a whole article? It's just kind of a yes or no.
But the results of his firing, so he was fired before ever appearing on the show, but he did go on to make his own YouTube special and stuff, so he's still making money. His life
Jewish.
isn't in ruins.
What I've been trying to hold on.
Lorne Michaels is Jewish. Thank you, Allie, for fact checking.
Jew check. Should we have
Are you trying to sound like?
I don't like that it's Law and Order themed.
Yeah.
But that's what I was trying to say.
Whenever we're not sure if someone's Jewish, I'll interject and Allie will do the check. Okay, back to your canceled SNL dude and the comedy piece.
Yes, go. She's ready.
And should he have used slurs? Absolutely not, for sure.
No slurs.
That is beyond my line, agreed.
She's using her hands, listeners. She's
That
really
being
angry.
said, Bo Burnham, who is a very funny comedian.
I like him. He plays the piano.
And I think he's one of my favorite comedians. I think he's very smart. One of his things he says about his comedy, where he does say racist and fucked up shit, is that when he says something homophobic, he's not making fun of gay people. He's making fun of people who speak like that. He's making fun of homophobes. Comedy is layered, and he doesn't actually hate gay people.
It's like no different than SNL like doing a skit around Trump or conservatives or liberals and like making fun of the situation of how they would react to something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is the fucking problem, is that everyone has their own personal experiences that determine what they find acceptable, and we can't become a mob about it. I don't agree with that.
Okay, I got a hot take.
Hit
I got
us.
a hot take thinking about white chicks. Okay,
Love that
so
movie.
comedians during this new era, they're trying this whole thing of, oh, we don't punch down in this climate. We got to punch up, meaning we can only make fun of what's
White men.
above us. So their example, white men. But does that not mean we are now just completely identifying and saying out to the world, this is everything beneath us? I know as humans, our brains just want to make sense of things by putting things
Categorizing.
in a box,
Yeah.
categorizing. But by just saying we can only punch up, that is saying these are all
This
the
is
people
what's
below
below
us.
And
so
what
that's
they
not
mean,
okay.
What they mean is like by privilege level.
Yes.
That being said, I don't agree. And again, like, cancel me, bitches. You can't hurt me. I don't believe in the privilege Olympics. I don't believe in the pain Olympics. I don't believe that we should be categorizing who has it the worst off. I think everyone has problems, and we should try to solve those problems, period.
I mean, the Jews obviously have it the worst.
I knew you were going to say that.
You would say
I
that.
was about to just cut in and just completely interrupt Nora and be like, Allie's.
What's my thing? What's
Jew check.
it? Jew check. Allie is Jewish.
I don't like having to blame myself before I say anything. Maybe this is similar to what you're saying about the pain Olympics. Like, I feel like I have to blame myself before I say something that might be a little bit more controversial. Like, I understand as a white woman, like, this might not apply to me.
Yeah,
Or, you know
I
what
see
I
what you're
mean?
saying.
But, like, blah, blah, blah. And then I feel like I
That's
can't say that.
funny.
Like, when I got swung at by a homeless man walking home, and I had a conversation with, like, my black superior about it, he was, like, questioning me on, like, demographics. And I was like, I understand that I shouldn't have been walking. And, like, I got so scared because I didn't know. He's like, was he homeless? And I'm like, he was dressed homeless chic because, like, homeless is not the right word. Like, I didn't know. Like,
You
I
think
started
homeless
panicking.
chic is better than homeless?
Well, I didn't know if he was homeless, so I was trying to say, like, maybe.
Listener, he was definitely homeless.
No, he for sure was homeless. But that's like a look
was a
now,
raggedy
like the
fish.
wide leg pant.
Let's back up to the point of Allie's little nervous rant here. The point of Allie sweating and like rambling right now is that she's afraid to say that a black homeless man swung at her. That's the truth, right? Should you be afraid to say those words?
I don't know if I ever told y'all this story. I got into a hit and run accident where it wasn't an immediate hit then run. The man hit my car. We both got out of our cars. He then slapped me.
What?
Slapped
I forgot about this. I forgot.
He slapped you in the face?
Slapped her.
No, he slapped my thigh.
Even weirder.
To set the scene, I'm driving to the airport in rush hour traffic. So we're bumper to bumper, not going very fast. And at one point, there was a little bit of time, so we got to start moving a little bit. Then everyone slammed on their brakes, including myself. The man did not slam on his brakes. Ran into me, very little damage. I called them little dimples in my car because they were just cute little slut dimples on her back. But
Slut dimple.
I've never heard of a slut dimple.
anyways, the man comes out just vicious. And he goes, why'd you stop? And he's just aggressive. And I'm maybe 20 at the time, so I immediately call 911, get back in my car. And I'm like, there's a man. He's mad at me. He hit me.
He's mad at me.
He's very aggressive. Da-da-da-da-da.
Like he slapped me in the thigh.
Well, I didn't even get to that part. So I'm just like, he's very aggressive. We got into a fender bender, no big deal, but he seems very angry. I look out and he seems to have like kind of cooled off. And so I opened my car door and I was like, hey, we should move our cars further off the road. We're making traffic worse. He comes over to me, slaps my thigh.
Why would he do that?
I don't know. And I'm wearing, like, it was like the heat of Texas summer and I was in like a little short shorts or something. And so my
Nice.
thigh was bear, and he got
Bear.
scared.
That's disgusting.
And so then he gets in this car, and I'm on the phone, and they're like, okay, we're going to patch you through to an officer. And I was like, okay. So
Okay.
well, I've never been on 911 that long. I've only called 911 a few times, but I've never gotten... I've never been patched through to an officer. So the officer's like, can you give me the make and model? And I look up in my rearview mirror, and I go, oh, he's gone. And the cop was so bored, and he was just like, yeah, that happens all the time. And I was like, what? And he was like, tell me, can you describe the car? And so I'm describing the car, and he was like, and how about the man? What race was he? And I was like, oh. And this is 20-year-old Tara, and I go, oh, I don't feel comfortable trying to guess that.
If you have a guess now.
Yeah, well, now, as an adult.
As an adult
what-
racist woman, of brown descent.
Brown descent.
So they're like talking me through what to do next, and they're like, just, okay, tell us what happened. And I was going through it, and again, I'm so fucking stupid. I'm a 20-year-old girl just getting slapped by a man. And they go, tell us what happened. And I was walking them through it, and I go, oh yeah, and then he slapped me. And the police officer goes, he assaulted you? And I don't know where my brain went. I was just so nervous. I go,
Karen.
not sexually.
Oh my God, Tara. Good. I'm glad that you didn't. You clarified. It would have been really impressive if he sexually assaulted you in the type of a fender bender to you calling the cops. You got a quickie in. Like, good for that man.
I've never heard of sexual assault and quickie in the same sentence.
Talk about, that was the most cancelable thing that Allie's ever said.
Quickie is the most consensual form
Yeah,
of sex.
a quickie by definition has got to be consensual. I'm
But
sorry.
but in this context with sexual assault, it's obviously like a quickie.
I'm sweating.
So what happened? Did they catch him?
No, of course not. I just drove to the airport and picked up my guest. Okay, so Gina Carano. Gina got in trouble for posting about Nazi Germany. Are we interested in that?
We've got Allie to wait.
We can
She
dun
can
dun.
be our...
Dun dun. Nazi check.
Allie can give Jew checks and Nazi checks. All right, Allie, let us know if this is a Nazi.
Okay, Gina Carano is an actress, and on a social media post, she was comparing U.S. political divides to Nazi Germany. The results of that...
Allie's face. She's already calling Nazi. Go on.
Smells like what? Sniffing her out.
So the results of her post, she was fired from The Mandalorian in 2021. Disney cited abhorrent comments. These weren't illegal, but sparked fan pressure for her removal.
What were the comments?
She was comparing U.S. politics to Nazi Germany.
Allie? Nazi or nah? I feel like Allie agrees with her.
I don't agree with her. I feel like I don't think she's a Nazi.
I don't think
I think the commentary was saying there's obviously like extremist views, but I guess it depends on the context that she was saying. It was like she's saying like the Trump administration is similar to Nazi Germany.
Probably.
Is what I would
or
assume.
vice versa.
Or Biden.
Definitely not Biden. Biden can barely eat an ice cream cone. Like, I don't think he's not giving Nazi.
He's so close to retirement, y'all.
You
He's
hear
so
that,
close.
guys? You heard it here first on Nazi or not. Biden, not a Nazi.
Not a Nazi. Who would have thought the rats would be deciding who's Nazis and who's not?
Should we rebrand this podcast?
Nazi or not? Let's jump into the second prong of legality. So the first and perfect example everyone talks about, y'all can guess it.
Diddy.
Harvey.
Weinstein?
Yeah.
What about
Oh.
Jeffrey Epstein?
Yeah, he's on there too.
Okay, what about them?
So Harvey,
Jews.
let's talk about.
Whoa. We got a Jew check. Allie?
check.
Are they both Jewish?
Yeah, Weinstein and
You
Epstein.
always
See,
do
I'm
this
not
to
allowed
me.
to do that. I'm not allowed to talk about cancel
Guys,
culture.
I mean that's guys.
I don't know Jewish last names.
we grew up in
Steinberg, Berger. You're pretty good to go.
Is your last
Burger?
name Jewish?
My last name's German.
Nazi.
Nazi check?
Not
She won't Nazi check herself.
Okay, so the
Nazi check's cracking me up. It's so stupid.
I know we're gonna get canceled for Nazi checks. The Nazis are gonna come get us.
I did Nazi check. Ow.
no, it's hilarious.
They're canceled. The Nazis are canceled.
Nazis
They're not,
are.
though.
Well, that's true. There's some
uptick
kicking.
in participation.
Doesn't mean that it's right.
Wait, did my argument sound like I was defending the Nazis?
You're like, oh, it's on the rise.
Meaning they're not
popular demand.
meaning they're not canceled. They are alive and well.
No, I see your point. Go on.
Okay, so Harvey Weinstein, the film producer's career imploded in 2017 as numerous sexual assault allegations surfaced. Now, there's a nice little positive twist to this, believe it or not.
He did?
The results.
Is it that he's dead?
He's not dead. That's Jeffrey.
Oh, yeah.
Harvey's kicking.
Alive and well. Also, okay, but I'll do the silver lining first because I do have bad news. This sparked the Me Too movement,
Yeah.
which I do think, yes, that could coincide with some issues with cancel culture, but it did give women an amazing, enormous platform that just kind
To
of
be
shook
believed.
some folks.
Yeah, I agree.
I
I don't
do
have a problem
think-
with that. And I don't think it was malicious cancel
Right.
culture. I think that
I think it turned into that.
I think there are
think-
cases for
yeah,
sure where
I think
it
it
was.
turned into that.
I don't think it's turned into it, but I see it with the possibility of, yes, there being like a constant fear of being canceled or Me Too'd, as they say.
Let
But
me
right
tell you,
now,
boys
I still think women are still getting assaulted at work,
Yeah,
treated
for
worse.
sure.
And
100%.
there's still not enough fear of getting Me Too'd, in my opinion.
So
But anyway.
you, in that case, you agree with cancel culture in the sense of like you should lose your livelihood if you cross quote unquote line with a female colleague.
I do think that if you cannot control yourself as an individual in the workplace,
You shouldn't be in the workplace.
I don't see you changing for your next job. I don't think being reprimanded and having to go to like some, sexist class to learn how to behave better is going to
Makes
change
it sound like
you.
they're going to learn to behave as a sexist.
Oh, how do I phrase that better?
No, that was fine. Go
How do
on.
you become a sexist? Just be a man in the workplace. Okay, the others that came up were like Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, Louis C.K.
Oh yeah,
Louis
Lucy.
I
C.K.
saw Louis C.K.'s first show after he came back from cancel culture.
How'd
He
he
tried
do?
to make a comeback. It didn't work.
I thought he came back all right, no? He's not doing all right?
I'm still confused about what he did, if I'm being honest. I heard he jerked off in front of women who didn't consent to it, which I'm like, nor have I ever consented to that. Like, just in general, do they usually ask?
May I perform masturbation on myself in front of you? My understanding of Louis C.K., he was in public places, like workplaces. So,
Oh
for
my
example,
God.
in his dressing room while maybe an assistant came in.
Dressing room is like a private.
No, it's at a work function, and the people walking into his dressing room
Would catch
are
him?
employed by the show, not him. Or even if employed by him, they walk in and he's like, I'm going to jerk it. And, like, I personally, I hate it when people are like, why didn't they just leave then? That's terrifying.
Yeah.
You probably froze. You don't
I
don't
mean,
know the saying deer in headlights? Like,
I've watched many a man jerk off on the subway, and
You don't get any compensation for it.
I get nothing.
wait, that has nothing to do
Yeah,
with
what?
money. What? You're thinking about
Just
like
trying to
work-
make some conversation.
She's saying shit. Don't cancel
Allie
this woman.
just
She
said-
has no idea what she's saying.
Allie just said no means yes. And
It was a joke. I'm just trying to stir the pot. It's
Well-
getting very serious in here. This is a comedy podcast.
I was gonna say my first day on my university campus, a fraternity got
God.
banned because they had posted like on campus somewhere, no means yes and yes means anal.
Yeah, I've heard that one.
It was the first time I heard of it, but yeah, my parents were like moving me into my dorm, and there was like all this rowdy behavior going on across
One
campus.
time I said I liked chilies to someone, and they said don't ever say that out loud. And I said why? And they say people who like chilies like anal.
What? What? What?
I don't know. I've never heard that since.
I don't think that's a common phrase,
But
Allie.
for a really long time, I wouldn't tell people I enjoyed chilies.
But you do like it.
I love chilies.
Oh, you're talking about the restaurant
Yeah.
chilies. I thought you just meant the food chilies.
No,
I like chilies.
I like both types of chilies.
But she does not like anal.
I don't like any.
Listener, her back door is not open for
It's
business.
shut. It's that garage door has been broken for some time.
So can y'all think of anyone in New York City that's been canceled? I'm really curious to know if you'll come up with the same people I did.
The mayor got canceled.
Giuliani.
Giuliani.
Yeah. What about
Rudy
the other one that just grabbed that girl's tit? The mayor.
Did that?
The current mayor?
No, there was like that Italian guy that was during COVID.
Is that not Giuliani?
No.
Are you talking about Como?
Yes.
Oh, Como did get in
Como
trouble.
got
I don't
canceled.
know what he
I thought
did.
he grabbed the girl's like ass or something.
He was like really inappropriate with his interns, and I think touched them
Yeah.
inappropriately. I have one more that I'm kind of surprised that y'all didn't think of this one. She's a non-famous person, non-politician. Do you know the name Amy Cooper?
No.
No? Okay, so for the listener, Amy Cooper is the white woman who called the police on a black bird watcher.
I remember that.
In
Yes.
in
Central Park?
Central Park.
Yeah.
Thank
Why
you.
did she call
So-
the police?
She was like, "Get out of here!"
She's the original Karen.
She is kind of the OG Karen.
She
One of
she
them.
definitely helped start that movement of Karens, which I'm totally fine with. By the way, I think calling people Karens is hilarious. So Amy Cooper, this is the most confusing story ever because the man in this story, his name is also Cooper.
Is it really?
Yes.
I did
so
not
when
remember
I
that.
heard about this in 2020 or 2021 when it was happening, I went to online and it's just saying this Cooper, that Cooper, this Cooper, that Cooper. And finally at the end of the article, it was like, no relation. I'm like, what the fuck? So yeah, basically she was in an area of Central Park where dogs must be leashed. There are other parts where unleashed are allowed. This man is an avid bird watcher and got mad that she had her dog off leash. It escalated to the point where she called the police and he's recording her and she says, "I'm going to tell the cops there's a black man in Central Park and I don't feel safe." So
There's lots of black men in Central
Right,
Park, lady.
The whole
It's fine.
the biggest light shone on this is the fact that she knew her
She
her
was
privilege
threatening.
and she threatened his lack of privilege.
Yeah.
And so she's very much so canceled to the point that she lost her job and the nonprofit that she adopted her dog from took her dog back.
No, that makes me sad. It's just dog love, okay? Like the dog doesn't know that her owners are racist.
I think it's interesting that Nora immediately, I thought we were going to get through the conversation before coming up with a decision on our opinions of cancel culture. Nora immediately came in and was like, I do not agree with cancel culture.
I don't agree with that. I mean, again, there's gray areas, but I don't get to make the moral decisions for this world.
Yeah,
no
I just
one
don't
does.
know why we can't just identify things that we don't agree with. Don't buy them. Don't follow them. Don't listen to
Right.
them. And I'd love for more listeners, rats. But if you don't like us, you don't have to listen to us.
Don't cancel us, rats. Thanks.
We love you.
As always, thanks for listening. If you're interested in even more bad advice, scurry on over to Instagram and TikTok at Bad Advice Only NYC. We're begging you. Download and rate the show and leave us a review. Talk to you next Monday. Stay tuned, rats.